Good morning, wonderful listeners. You've tuned into Post Session Podcast, a podcast filled with the stoke of a surf session and the wise guidance of an ocean voyager. Your water-loving hosts are ready to share this infectious state of mind while encouraging and inspiring you for your next adventure. All right. I never get tired of that intro.
Ever.
So, Laurel, who do we have today?
Well, I want to introduce to our listeners my new best friend, Mr.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Sorry, you got ditched. This guy has the coolest job.
Do you guys have a secret handshake or?
Well, okay, we did just develop our secret handshake, but we're working on one. There's been one in the works, actually.
No. Anyway.
Okay.
Welcome.
Mr. Chris Bradley is a former police officer and current cueing Billy.
There it is.
And current private eye.
Yeah.
He's a surfer. Ultra distance runner.
Run.
And all around, healthy guy.
Muscles. Yeah. Spying on my neighbors. What are they doing? Who's that? Vicious character over there.
Okay.
We're a little too excited about this.
Chris, welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome.
How are y'all?
Thanks for coming out today.
We're great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
What? I'll go through the table of contents real
Please.
quick because I'm ready
Rock
to hit
it
the
on
road.
down.
Yeah. We're going to start with post-session notes, which we're all going to discuss what's going on in the water. Maybe you just went surfing. Maybe you didn't. You're going to tell us. Then we're going to slide into the injustice of the week. If there's something that you want to talk about, we were talking about injustices out there, remember, with the renters name?
Yeah.
So talk about that. We'll dive deeper and have some serious fun because you have a made-for-TV job.
I could definitely write a book.
Awesome.
Oh,
Right up
speaking
my
of,
alley.
yeah. And then we'll tread into some God waters. Laurel will take us home. And maybe we'll have some homework at the end.
Yeah. Some special private eye technique homework.
Yeah.
Think about that. Okay.
Yeah. You can tell us what kind of binoculars to buy.
You don't need binoculars. You got a cell phone.
Oh.
They work just as good now.
Oh.
See? Insider tips already.
Right. All right. So we know what the table of contents are. Let's dive into some post-session notes.
Yeah.
Have you been in the water recently?
You're a surfer. Tell us.
Started surfing a long time ago when I was 4. So going on 4 decades of being in the water.
So you're probably good.
Yeah.
I can handle my own.
Why aren't you a pro?
Because cop life and PI work took precedence over that.
Making the money.
Priorities. Yep.
Last time I was in the water, so I'm still trying to dial in a new board. My brother been shaping for a long time. So
what's his name?
Josh Bradley.
Bradley.
So he does JB Surfboards out of Surf City.
JB Surfboard. Oh, local too.
Yeah. So it's nice having a brother that does that. Call him one day and I said, hey, I'm ready for a new board right after Christmas. And he said, can I have fun with it? And I said, yes, go ahead. So he shows up at the house with a 510 PI model.
Oh,
You have a picture of that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I do.
send it to us
I
because
will.
we'll post that
Okay.
with us.
Does it have a? Is it
yes.
wearing a mustache?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So the logo is a mustache, and then the sunglasses, the Ray-Ban,
Yeah.
the wire rim glasses, and it has PI in the lenses. So.
This is better than I expected. Because I'm thinking of all these stereotypes, and I'm having so much fun in my brain, and
It's
my
on the
gosh,
board.
yeah, you're thinking of them too.
So
Yeah.
you're dialing it in. So how thick is it? Can you ride smaller waves on it?
It is. So nobody knows the way that you surf better than your brother, who just so happened is a shaper. So this one right here, I told him I want to go a tad longer than what I've been riding. He's been shaping us boards, literally retro 80s boards for the last 10 years. Little wider boards, full volume, low rocker. This one's a 510. It's 20 inches wide, 2.5 thick, full rails.
So you can pick up anything.
Yeah,
probably.
swallowtail. It's epoxy. So it's a good riding board. It's just there's
How
a
many
lot.
fins are you riding? 4?
So
Five?
we build the way that he's building all my boards, we do a 5-fin setup. That way I can change it up and do whatever. I've been riding it as a quad, but I think I'm gonna have to drop a small little trailer in
Okay,
the back.
Ashley's falling asleep during this part. We got to hurry, roll it up.
All right. So
No, I love all this technical talk.
So a little, I'm gonna have to drop either a small trailer or I'm gonna take the quad setup out, drop a big Mark Richards twin fin setup in it with a small
Yeah.
trailer, and then go from there. So
Fun.
just
What color is it?
It's
Red.
white,
Oh.
white, no
It's
color.
white.
Well, he's got to be undercover. If it was red,
So
you'd spot the
Yeah, I was
private
thinking
eye.
about the Ferrari. Though.
Last year he did me a hot pink surfboard.
Oh,
We did hot pink and white. So
Okay,
yeah.
a man comfortable in his manliness.
that's pretty Miami Vice.
Yeah.
We do need some pictures of that, though.
Oh, we'll put that on.
I'll definitely get you pictures of that.
Yeah. So you've been having fun in the water then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun kind of trying out a new board. You don't feel that successful at first generally, but
No, I mean, obviously when you get on it, I mean, it's just that feel. The board paddle's good. You feel the water flowing underneath it. So
easy duck dive.
yeah, it's not bad.
Okay. I really want to learn how to do that.
Well, that reminds me of
Yeah.
my post-session note.
Please.
I, too, just got a new surfboard.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
It's
forgot to mention
beautiful.
it. Thank you. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary, and we bought a house, and it's been a lot of work. Like, we're renovating it. So for our anniversary, he surprised me with a surfboard, basically because he got tired of Laurel talking about having so much fun and me being like, I can't find what I do. So our friend Jason
Shaped you up.
shaped a board. It's kind of purpley.
It is purple.
Yeah,
It's not purpley.
it's purple. It's a big perp.
It's 8. Is it an 8?
Can we call it big perp?
The big perp.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that goes with our theme with you. And
Absolutely. You know
Yeah.
what? You got to find somebody that has a vinyl machine that can cut that in sticker and hot pink right across the nose.
Yeah.
Big perp.
Big
Big
perp.
perp.
That's what her name is. But
Yeah.
Anyway, she's much bigger than your board. I think she's 8'10" or something. Do you remember what we
I
told
think
you?
he said 8.5 or something like that.
Well, anyway, it's over
Maybe
8 feet
8'10".
because I'm
Well, you're tall.
tall.
You're a
Newbie. Well, huge, as DJ said during the last interview. He was like, "You're huge." Thanks.
Okay. Is
Senior-
that all your? When are we going out on it? That's what I
well,
wanna
that's
know.
a good question. I have to put some fins on it,
Mhm.
and he needs to still put a
Leash
leash.
hole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but
You're ready to go.
whenevsies.
Okay.
Now we just need some waves.
That's right. Well, that's what I was going to say. My post-session note is womp, womp.
No.
Water's getting warm. I was in a
It is.
spring suit, but I think I could go bareback easy in the sun because the water temp's almost 70 degrees.
That's cold.
It's supposed to be 90 tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we've got no waves. So we've had like intermittent little puny pillars.
Well, the weather's been blah. No rain, no waves. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like,
Dried up.
yeah.
So anyway,
Crusty.
the post-session notes are a bit boring because unlike you guys with new boards,
Mhm.
I have the same old board and nothing to ride with it.
You got a new board like last time you went to Puerto Rico.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's in Puerto Rico.
Well,
But it's
what-
like shoes. You can't have enough surfboards.
Or shoes.
And it's always nice to have a new board.
Yeah. Yeah. My birthday's coming up. All right. Well, let's move on into the injustice of the week. Did you bring one, or do we have to
Yeah.
like sub in something?
Well, there's a whole lot that I could bring up with an injustice.
Absolutely.
Um,
No shortage in this
but-
world.
But what we were talking about earlier, we'll talk about that. Rental properties,
Rental properties.
Rental properties.
just an absolute. I had a horrible experience.
Myrtle Beach, y'all.
Oh yeah, Myrtle Beach. We had a condo. We were renting it out, doing Airbnb with it, and it was a nightmare.
It got trashed.
Had trash,
Dirty Myrtle.
Yeah, people broke dishes.
No,
yeah,
broken dishes.
yeah. So when we
They throw them. Off
They,
the
they just, I
balcony.
mean, they would drop them. We had a glass counter or a glass stovetop. It got shattered.
No.
Yeah, so we sold it. Like I think we had it maybe 8 months. And
Oh,
just
wow.
sold it, lost money on it, and I was like, I'm just done with it.
Which is interesting because you guys run or own a cleaning business. So
No.
you already have
Clean Eats.
clean eats
Clean Eats.
business. Oh, well, so
Way
when
off.
I said
Way off.
when I said all around healthy guy,
Yeah.
that
you
was
were,
like an ad.
I
for
thought you were
Clean
dialed
Eats.
in.
Okay, so rental property. Ashley?
Yeah, we're renting too.
Yeah.
We got a townhome up on the Cape Fear River, except we are renting to a really responsible couple that's of the age to not be breaking dishes or having those
Late night parties.
marijuana parties that you were
Yeah,
mentioning
yeah.
earlier. Or maybe they are, but they're not telling us about it.
Let me just open the
So-
back door.
Yeah. You don't have to
Right.
load it up like the
Right.
Cheech and Chong
Right.
band.
Dave is
Yeah.
not here.
They were hotboxing your condo. That's what
Yes,
it's called.
Yes, they were.
Oh,
That's what
man.
it's called. That's not nice.
Well, on
My
that
people aren't
note,
doing that.
Well, you're renting
Uh-huh.
a sublet. Well, no, you're renting per year, or did they sign a year lease?
Oh yeah, we're
Okay.
only doing long term.
Yeah,
Which
so-
when you were talking about those guys,
Yeah.
mutual friends renting their house for $3,000, that sounds awesome. We're not doing that, but we have peace of mind.
Yeah.
And
Well, we aren't
whatever.
either. We had thinking about VRBO or Airbnb-ing a place where you would have people come in and cycling out. You think, oh, that's a great idea. I can make more money than I
You
would.
can make more money.
But you know what? No.
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems, but
Mm-hmm.
you're cycling people in and out. You don't have a guarantee. We have people, just like you, signed a year lease. It's steady money. It's paid. They're good to the place, good to the
Yeah.
property. So I don't know about this whole flipping. I mean, actually, we had somebody from our church that came by and said, oh, this is what you'd need to do if you wanted to VRBO it. And I told him what we were making a month. And he's like, I think you should just stick with your monthly income.
Yeah, for
monthly
us,
rent.
it's not income. For
Okay.
us, it just pays the mortgage on the
Okay.
place because the place isn't paid for. But I don't care because
Then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a bunch of money doing the Airbnb thing, but
It's an injustice.
that's an injustice. Yeah. I'm sorry things
Yeah.
went south.
No, it's okay.
Mm.
Dirty
Tell us about.
Myrtle.
Oh, well, okay. We'll go to the. Let's dive a little deeper.
Let's dive deep.
Before we hit the private eye part, which is what we're most excited about, tell us about the
Yeah.
clean eats.
So before I tell you about the clean eats part, I got to tell you how I got there.
Okay.
I went through a divorce in 2016,
Youch.
2017.
Or-
I think 2017. I don't remember now.
That's part of the problem.
I met this wonderful lady.
While you were married?
No.
okay.
Oh my
we
gosh,
were-
too
No.
personal. See, we don't know him like that.
Okay.
No, I met this wonderful lady by sheer accident.
Uh-huh.
She had an apparel company. You know, so
The ex-wife.
No, my
Oh, the new
current,
guy.
my
Okay.
yeah, my
Okay.
current
Fiance.
fiance.
His
Yes.
fiance. Yeah.
She had an apparel company. You know, she did active wear. You know, would go to bodybuilding shows, CrossFit events, stuff like that. I saw this shirt one day on Instagram, and it really caught my attention. It was just catchy what it said. It said "Untamed by Choice." I was like, I gotta have that shirt, so I ordered it.
Uh,
Shirt comes in. I had a nice little note. Hey, thank you for the order. And I mean, you know, very personal. And
Untamed by choice.
By
Makes me want
choice.
to.
yeah.
So, but there was a note in there that said, you know, hey, thank you for your order. And then there was like $1 and some change in the box, and it said I overcharged you for shipping. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. You know, that doesn't happen.
That's integrity.
So I took a picture of it and I posted it, and you know, then she sent me a
Cool.
message, hey, thank you so much. And then we started talking back and forth, and then like a week or two later, we met for coffee, and then very early on, she took a trip to Jacksonville, Florida, and she was going down there to look to open up a Clean Eats franchise in Jacksonville, Florida. And I said, I'm in, I'm down, let's do this. So we ended up, Myrtle Beach came up for sale, and in August 2018, we purchased Myrtle Beach. And a week later, we had a hurricane down there.
Oh no.
So-
That is always
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well.
I remember it was like our first week. We're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I went to Walmart and bought one of the white cubic little square freezers. And I brought it back to the store, and I put all of our meats and everything in there.
Yeah.
And I brought it home because I had a generator at the house. So we were able to
Okay.
keep all our
Yeah.
meat and everything. So
Oh, when you say you purchased Myrtle Beach, you mean you purchased a franchise?
the franchise, yes.
Okay,
it was
and
already,
then you had
it was,
all this inventory.
yes.
It's food.
Yes. So,
Perishable.
yep. So we did everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
So
gosh.
I got the freezer home, got it hooked up to the generator. The neighborhood we live in, we were landlocked. We couldn't get out. We were an island. Torchwood.
So Florence.
Torchwood.
Oh yeah.
Was underwater, 8 feet underwater. The Cajun Navy was rescuing people out of their houses during the hurricane. We couldn't get out. And I had a big Jeep that was lifted. So finally, like 3 days later, I was able to get out. I put the freezer in the back of my Jeep, and it took me 9 hours to get from Wilmington to Myrtle Beach. I had to go to Raleigh, hit US 1, US 1 down to Lumberton 95 into South Carolina, and then from there.
Was there ice along the way?
I kept no. What I did was I kept the freezer closed. I wouldn't open it because I know that as long as you keep that freezer closed, you're good for about 20 hours. Okay. I got it to the store. The store never lost power. We lost power here, but they didn't lose power down there. I finally got to the store, got the freezer in, got it hooked up, moved everything, transitioned everything back over, and then from there, I think I stayed at the store like 2 straight days. I just couldn't go home.
Yeah, you had to
couldn't
babysit.
get back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
traveling was a nightmare then, because I remember we went down to Florida not long after the storm, and instead of just going to Florida, we had to go same thing all the way west and all this other junk. It was
Well, what struck me about that story is, how long had you been divorced when you met this lady?
6 or 7 months.
Okay,
You better
so
get in
6 or 7 months. You just jump in feet first, head first. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've never wiggled my toes in the water.
Okay, I like that. I appreciate the fact that you immediately kind of dialed this in, and then when there was a mention of an opportunity, a big financial risk opportunity, you said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yep.
let's roll.
So maybe a little personal though, but y'all are still engaged. So what's the deal? Are you gonna get married or do this thing or what?
Yeah, quit wiggling those toes.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. We have loosely set a couple dates, and then work got in the way.
Okay. Oh.
The old, we're just a little busy right now.
Well, we both have been married previously, so it's like
yeah.
I mean,
Not
we're
chomping at the bit
we're
for
living
that.
we're living together. We have a daughter together. We just so
I hear you.
Yeah.
we just
Okay.
haven't officially made it official.
Okay.
But I think second time around is probably you've already satisfied that designation, and it's kind of like maybe, but yeah,
Let's do it. Do it.
do it, do it, do it, do it.
Okay. What's your fiance's name?
Wendy.
I'm sorry, Wendy.
Yeah,
wanna tell you
our
that.
bad, our bad.
We'll get off that subject.
So you asked about clean eats.
Yeah, and he told us.
Now can we get for real?
Yeah, we want to know what was did you go right from being a cop, retiring from that and going into private eye, or was Clean Eats in the middle, or what spawned Magnum PI?
Okay. So I went into law enforcement in 2000.
Yeah.
So from 2000 to 2018. So when we bought the store in 2018, I stepped away from full time for 1 year.
Okay.
And I ran Clean Eats. I was in the store literally every day.
Wow.
Because you want to
gotta
grow,
have
you
your
want to
presence.
develop, you want
Gotta
a
build
presence,
it. Gotta build
right?
it. Yeah.
So in January of 2020, I went back full time.
Okay.
And then June timeframe, I found out about the opportunity to maybe purchase a PI business. And then in December 1st, which was the last thing I had to do, was I had to resign so I could get my PI license.
Okay.
And then we closed in January.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna kind of go through my intro a little bit.
Yeah.
I mentioned this earlier, but I can't think of a more made-for-TV occupation, right? There's tons of shows and movies that feature PIs, so it almost seems like a pretend job.
Yeah.
And we want to know, what's it really like out there?
day
Is
in
it
the
mostly, is it cheating spouses, or are you solving murders?
Well, it's crazy that you say that. We do everything. We do have the cheating spouse cases, child custody cases. We have one independent death investigation case we're working currently. And we have 2 more that we're waiting on a few things from the clients to come back to us. So then we can get started on those. And something you said earlier, which is our company's motto, peace of mind, and that's what the clients want. So these other 2 murder investigations we're going to dig into, one way or the other. We're going to give them peace of mind. Either everything is exactly what was said, or there's something else there,
Right,
and
right.
then from there we typically will get an attorney involved. An attorney will be an advocate for us, where they can go to.
Do you hire the attorney?
No, we don't.
Okay,
we
so they hire
we have to refer that to the client.
Okay.
And then it's kind of like that triangle. We all kind of put our heads together
Checks and
work together.
balance, too.
Absolutely. So the attorney they're the advocate for us. If we want reports, they can get reports for us. If they want to go before the district attorney, they're the ones that are going to go before the district attorney. They're attorneys. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So,
But what part? I mean, is it a lot of stakeouts in the car?
some of it.
Eating popcorn,
Like,
Doritos.
yeah, eating Doritos, or like your shirt says there, give me 2. Because they're doing the stakeout.
But he
Or-
was so hungry he wanted 3.
He's wearing a Point Break Utah
Yeah.
T-shirt.
Or is it
Research.
that you really enjoy the investigative part where you're kind of digging in and looking for?
I think this is the closest thing outside of law enforcement for a career.
So it's more flexible, I'm sure, than law
Oh
enforcement.
my gosh, yes. Yeah, I'm not working for somebody else. I have a little more free time. I would say free time, but I was out last night till midnight. So
Oh, wow. We were too, but we were just with each other at the house drinking wine.
it's flexible. We have to be very flexible. We can't set it. It's very hard to have a set schedule.
Right.
I can't say I'm going to work 10 to 3 today, and then all of a sudden something pops off at 2:45, and then I'm out till midnight.
Yeah, because the
don't know.
You're
perp
following
the perp
them.
might be on the move.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you get to follow them in a car.
Well, I was going to say, you get to pick your cases, too. There's probably some that you would turn down. Are there?
I think when we're talking to the clients, I think the ones that need to come to us, they come to us.
Okay.
I think the ones that they're kind of on the fence one way or the other, and that happens too. I mean, you have a client that comes to you and they want to, they're, say for instance, they're looking for somebody. They're looking for a relative or whatever.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, then they know where they are, but then we give them a contract. You have to sign a contract before we do any work for you. That contract covers us. So if there's a restraining order or something like that in place, and they don't want to tell us when we lay that contract in front of us, then they just don't call us back.
It becomes apparent.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we've had a couple of those.
Oh, it's like a
Like
bad stalking,
stalker.
abusive husband
Yes.
looking for his.
My mind's going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sleeping with the enemy.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I did think about I'm adopted. And so when you were saying that, I was like, oh, my God. Because one thing that I learned when I first moved to Wilmington, I was born in Wilmington. My parents adopted me through social
I
service.
didn't know that.
That I was adopted?
No, I knew that,
Oh.
but I didn't know you were from Wilmington though.
I was born here,
Yeah.
and my parents lived in Elizabeth City, and so social services from one county to the other connected us. And so I was 3 months old. And so when I got here after college, I called like the hospital or whatever and was like, can you tell me what and they're like, basically what the news I got was, and I was always on the fence as to whether I ever wanted to do this because I love my parents and I love my family and I don't really care. I kind of wanted to know, did she have big boobs? What?
Clearly.
And so, but what the hospital said or the staff said was basically anybody else at the time, because HIPAA wasn't as big as it is now,
Right.
could have found out, but they could have never told me. Because, North Carolina has some of the most strict adoption laws, whereas like in New York State, I think you could, when you're 18, get any information that you wanted, whereas here it was always a closed thing, but other people could get that information.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, why could other people know, but you couldn't know?
I don't know. I mean,
You
might
gonna
know.
hire Chris?
I don't.
No.
I,
I don't want to know anymore.
You
Nor-
changed your mind.
Yeah.
North Carolina is very unique with a lot of things when it comes to like child protective services, and it kind of all falls kind of under that. Even with the adoption side, they're very involved, or DSS. So I mean, it's all the same here.
So you really have to know the law to
Yes.
do your job.
Absolutely.
Wow.
North Carolina is very strict on getting a PI license. So not anybody can just go and apply and get a PI
Helps to
license.
have been a cop.
Well, you have. I mean, you almost have to. You have to have. So you're scored off of points.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
You have to have so many points to get your PI license.
He has to surf so many waves and get the
Right.
right amount of judges to come back.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So with me, 20 years as a police officer counts for a little bit, but my investigative time is what's the most important.
As a detective.
As a detective.
Okay.
And then
You were just on the beat or working at the jail. They wouldn't have counted those points.
yeah, they don't count. And then college. I went back to college after I got loaned out of DEA, so I finished my bachelor's. So between all of that, I had enough. But there's people that apply, and when they get all the way through their process, they say you have to be a PIA, which is a private investigative associate, and then you have to do all these hours. You have to, basically you're doing an internship for several thousands of hours.
Is that
Kinda
just
like
to
being
make
a
sure?
therapist.
Is it to make sure that you don't get a bunch of nut bags out
Yes.
there?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I would think that's
No
pretty
nut bags,
sensitive work.
please.
Yeah.
Okay.
You definitely don't want those out there.
Do you have a
Yeah.
story that you could share with us would be interesting, or maybe a time that you felt was most dangerous?
Yeah.
as a PI?
I mean, I'm sure
as a
the
PI,
DV
as a
Yeah.
PI or as a cop?
Oh, I kind of
'Cause-
want to
Well, you
do
were
PI.
a detective.
But, yeah, but
I was.
any good story.
Yeah. So it could be a detective
Yeah,
story too.
yeah.
We would
So-
take that.
I'll tell you, when I was with DEA,
Uh-huh.
we were working what's called
DEA.
a Title III case. It's a wiretap.
Oh.
Ooh,
We're listening to a wiretap. We were digging into the Sinaloa cartel.
I was going to say, it must be
Cartel.
high profile
Yes.
if you're wiretapping.
Yes. So we're listening to phone calls, and we
And
got.
is it a snitch in there with the wired? Who's
No,
wired?
we're listening to actual phone calls.
Okay,
So like
okay.
so
They
you
tapped
have
into
to
the phone line.
you have to. I mean, it's a very extensive report. You have to re-up it every 30 days to listen to phone, and it's not just one number. Typically, we're listening to multiple numbers, whatever. We got wind of 100 kilos of cocaine that had come in, and we were looking for it. So we so myself and another detective, we were 100% the surveillance guys. Anytime we had to dip out in the woods or whatever, so we're out in the woods. We hiked in a couple miles. It took us to get around to the backside of this ranch where the cocaine was initially found at, or we finally found it.
This is already a little scary.
Yeah. So
'Cause they're not protecting those drugs, you know?
well, oh yes, they are. The
Well,
story
that's what I'm
gets-
saying. They're not protecting them. They're out there looking.
Oh, the story gets better.
Yeah.
So we come in. We had to cross a little creek, and we are on the backside of a fence line.
What are you wearing?
Camo.
Okay.
All camoed out. It's in July,
Mhm.
so no,
You're
I had
hot as
I had my
hell.
face covered. It was hot, miserable. We had a
Yeah.
thermocell out there, and it was
But
the
it's daylight?
daylight.
Okay.
You couldn't see. We were good. We were really,
Camoed up.
yeah. We weren't seen.
Okay.
So, lesson learned in life that day. I did not know that cows have a very keen sense of smell.
Oh, no.
So
Cow patties.
So cows
What
started
happened?
moving over closer to the fence line where we were at, and the ranch hand came out on the porch, and I'll never forget. He had a .308 rifle, because I remember
You're in
5
a
rounds fired right over the top of our head, and we could just only thing we could do was just lay there. We kind of put our heads down and just lay there.
Whoa.
He was just trying to deter whatever was.
Later on we found out, he said something was back there on the other side of the fence line. I didn't know what it was, so I was trying to scare it off.
Right.
Which is, who would have thought? I mean, you've got your watch dogs, but I mean,
Yeah,
how many
watch-
people
yeah,
knew
watch
about
cows.
the watch cows?
So but anyway, they fired the shots, and then what?
We just laid there. We had to stay. Couldn't move.
Yeah, because he was looking
Right.
at that point.
Yeah,
And when you say ranch hand, he's the guy that was just babysitting.
babysitting
Yes.
the cocaine.
Yeah, just one guy.
Well, there was a couple guys there.
How long did you have to stay there?
We were there for 8 hours, so right after dark, we were able to come out of the woods. We had to
Oh
wait.
my
We had to wait.
gosh.
Yeah, we had to wait till dark.
What were you hoping to do by sneaking up?
Well, the plan was to watch, see what cars coming in and out.
Take some pictures.
We weren't taking pictures.
Okay. Just
Cars
watch.
coming in and out. We had cars on the outside, on the other side of the road, on the way out of the ranch as takeaway vehicles to do a traffic stop or whatever.
Did
So-
you have binocs?
We didn't need them.
Okay. You could just see right
Yeah,
there.
you
You were
could see.
that close.
Yes.
Ooh.
But you were going to relay that information, so
That was the plan. Unfortunately, we were out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm.
We lost radio communication. Pretty much, it was real spotty, so
Mm-hmm.
it was hard to communicate. We were able to get some text messages through. Not all text messages went through. That was day 2 of being out there. Day 3, we did a knock and talk, meaning we went up and knocked on the door, asked for consent to search, and they were like, yeah, come on. And we got chased by a bull in the barn.
But wait, they just said, yeah, come on?
Yeah, in Spanish, because I don't know what they said in
Huh. They
Yeah.
said, yeah, come on. I would think that they'd be like, no.
Well, what would they do? You're armed. They might have been armed, but you've got backup.
Right.
You
There
know,
was a
so they
bunch of
would
us.
have
There
been-
was
yeah.
when we went and knocked on the door, there was about 10 of us out there.
So they didn't have the product.
It was there.
It was there.
It was hidden.
Right. They were just hoping you wouldn't find
Correct.
You should have put one of those cows on a leash.
it.
So
Sniff it out.
How'd you not find it then?
so we're listening to, obviously, like I said, we're listening to phone calls.
Yeah.
And they kept saying the barn, the barn, the barn.
Yeah.
And so we went into the barn, and I'll never forget the little Spanish guy. His name was Leopo. So Leopo gets this bull, this big bull, horns, everything out of his stall, pulls him out, and I'm not from a farm. I don't know this. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
We pull back the hay, and there's rubber matting under there. I'm like, wow, that's kind of neat. So we're pulling the rubber matting up, and we're looking, and the dirt wasn't disturbed, so we put it all back, and we're standing in the aisle, and we hear Leopo yell something. And as I turn around and look, this bull's on 2 legs, standing there, and he comes down, and it's like a cartoon, and his front elbows are bent, and he's looking at us, and he takes off running down the aisle. So we're jumping over bales of hay. There's guns, radios falling out.
He let him loose on you.
Well, he was holding on to him. It was like he was skiing. He had his heels dug in the ground, and that bull was dragging him right down the aisle of the barn. And then all of a sudden, he kept yelling at him, and all of a sudden, he just stopped. And then he walked him back and put him in there. I think he did it on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's what it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Y'all
So
were getting
then-
a little close.
Yes. So then, we went out there again the next day, and then the next night, we went back out again, and we found what we were looking for. So
Where was it?
it was
where did
buried
they
in the
hide it?
ground,
Wow. But
Just
in the
like-
barn?
in a shed.
In a shed.
They took a shed and literally picked the shed up. You remember the old Sears, like, aluminum sheds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had picked it up and set it on top of the dirt. They had strategically placed push mowers on top of the dirt and then picked that up and set it on top.
Perfect.
Because there was no wheel patterns in the dirt or anything like that. Where they were
They were
they
smart.
were very.
But you still found it
We did.
because you had an animal helping?
Nope. We had a perk tester.
A what?
A perk
Perk
tester. It's a
tester.
long rod.
Yeah.
He stuck it in the ground like that's how you test for water.
Right.
He stuck it in the ground and pulled it out, and there was a piece of trash bag on it. And we're like, no way.
He was stabbing for the.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
That's how we.
That's awesome.
I was thinking in Spanish because you're listening to this in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
The phone
Well,
calls
we
and
had so
everything.
we have monitors that are listening, and they are translating and putting
Yeah.
it, and they're typing it up as the calls are coming in, and then
Isn't
So
Barn La Granera?
Well, I'm just wondering when y'all were laying there and the guy was shooting, there's lots of people who, when faced with life and death situations,
Poop
start,
their pants.
they pee on themselves. They start praying, like, oh God, oh God, oh God, I'm going to die. I mean, what, did y'all say anything? Did you go stone cold quiet?
we just got quiet.
Yeah.
Just laid there.
And how long before y'all spoke? Because you're
So
right next to each other, right?
We are. We actually separated a little bit away from each other so we weren't right on top of each other.
Right.
At
Maybe
least
10
they'd
or-
only one of you would get away if one got
yeah.
shot.
So we got about 10 or 15 feet apart from each other, and just kind of had to lay there and wait it out.
Wow.
Yeah,
we were
that's
glad.
crazy.
We were glad to get out of there that day.
Yeah.
And I would also think if you'd already, what did you call it, the knock and go, or
Oh, and knock and talk.
the knock and talk. I would think once they saw you, you'd be even more sketched out about returning to the scene.
Well,
because,
they never saw us.
they
so-
kept you guys secret.
Yeah, we stayed.
Yeah.
We stayed out,
Undercover.
and then when we came back, I don't remember what I was wearing that day. It was probably shorts and a t-shirt or something, or maybe jeans and a t-shirt or something. So, but I wasn't in my camo.
So was there a lesson learned from the sneaky cows?
Yeah, absolutely. Bring grass for them to chew on, and
Yeah.
they'll go away.
Okay.
But also, I have a question. So we were talking about sneaking around, all this stuff in the car. I'm sure you do or have done stakeouts in the car and all
Yes.
that. And I'm thinking, if I'm moving drugs or doing something super sketchy, I'm looking all the time for any
would-
kind of.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised how many people don't.
Yeah, I guess I would, because I would think I'd notice a car
You'd be paranoid.
out there. I'd be paranoid. You
But
know,
if
which
that's your lifestyle, you probably just
You get comfortable.
I'd probably make a bad perp.
maybe you'd make a good perp because you'd be like watchful. These guys get slack, maybe.
Yeah.
Let their guard down.
We don't.
Not you.
The bad guys.
The perp.
The bad guys.
The bad guy.
I think they get comfortable. I mean, there's always going to be that level of
when a shipment comes,
insecurity of when they're moving from point A to point B, whether they're going to get caught. But it's also it's their lifestyle, it's their livelihood. That's what they do. I mean, they do it for a living.
Mm-hmm.
So
they get a different level of comfort
Right.
than we would. We'd be
Right.
like, oh my God.
So I've got a question. Is there situations that you've had people come and talk to you about where you thought, like, I'm thinking of a custody case, or where you would go, what's the best thing for the child? Like, how do you decipher, or do you even go deep, or just you get paid and you go do the job?
Well, anytime with child custody, they're very difficult because at the end of the day, you're trying to prove that somebody is
Not a good
fit or irresponsible or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But we always tell the clients, no matter what it is, whether it's even with a divorce case or infidelity case or a child custody, we may not find anything. So we have to we prepare them for that. I mean, we're going to do our very best to do everything that we can. But
we're not going to make stuff up.
Right. I'm not going to
No,
make
we
stuff
gotta
up,
be
and I
objective.
can't be inside the house. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Right.
So if there's something going on behind closed doors, and if the child is telling you something, and this is where having that background in law enforcement, you know what? Maybe you should go talk to
CPS.
Go talk to DSS. They have counselors that can interview the child, and
Discern what might be happening.
right. That we don't see.
So where do you draw the line, though? I mean, you can park outside, you can look around. Can you go up to the window and look in the window?
No, we're not going to do that.
You got to stay out of the yard,
Yes.
Yeah.
Off the property.
Yes.
off the property.
But
Okay.
you can follow them wherever they go. If they're going to a bar and staying
Absolutely.
out all night, and
Yep.
the child, nobody sees a babysitter go in.
I mean,
maybe
what's the most nowadays? I mean, we were in a world of cell phones. When you walk into a bar, what do you see? You see everybody with their cell phone out.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I would think a lot of your job would require you to do research on social media and that kind of thing.
We do, but people are getting wise with social media as well, and they're making everything private. So you can go, for instance, and let's say you want to look up. Let's use the name Sarah, for example. You want to look up Sarah, so you go on to social media, and she has everything private. So when you look up her name, you can't see her friends list. You can't see any mutual
Google.
friends. You can't. Not always.
Okay.
So you can't see anything on social media, or the same thing with whether
You friend a friend?
you can't see any of that.
Okay.
If
Right.
she has everything set up private, you're not going to see any of that. So then you just kind of you have to. There's other things that you're going to have to do. So I mean, you can check all the social media platforms, but also you have to be careful checking those, because if you check them, it's going to show up.
That somebody checked you.
Well, it'll show up. We do have a mutual friend. I can't see it on my end, but she can see it on hers. So why is this guy looking at me? Who is this person?
How do you advertise for your private eye?
That's interesting.
Do you have a Instagram page?
I do have an Instagram page. I haven't really messed a whole lot with it.
Okay.
I started an Instagram page with it, and I have a Facebook page,
Okay.
a business page.
And what was the motto of your private eye?
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
That's cool.
PEACE or PIUCE?
No, PEA.
Oh, that's interesting too.
And so, are you really good at? I'm stealing your little thing, right? Like
What?
getting into, getting into the locked places.
no, I'll tell my
Oh,
story in a
okay,
minute.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
no,
can you pick locks?
Yeah, can you pick locks?
Um,
Look at the lock. Don't look at the dog. Look at the lock.
no, we don't. I don't pick locks.
Oh.
I when I was a police officer,
Uh-huh.
I kept a kit on my vest. I was a SWAT guy for 8 years also, so I kept a kit in my vest to pick a lock. But we also had a ram, so whichever was the quickest.
Oh yeah. Okay. The ram.
But now that he said he was a SWAT, I'm thinking again of Point Break because of the shirt that's been in my face the whole time. Did you ever have to go undercover?
I did undercover work. Yes,
Infiltrate
I did
from
undercover.
inside out.
Not like that.
Ah.
Not like that.
Yeah, because that's pretty intense.
But I have done undercover work where I've bought illegal stuff.
Oh, like what did you buy? Drugs.
Yeah.
Firearms.
Yeah,
Okay.
that too.
All
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what was your last question?
It wasn't a
Number-
question.
oh,
I was
okay.
going to say the other day we borrowed a friend's trailer, and And it came with this combination lock, and it's like a $50 combination lock. And we had it on the table outside, and of course the kids were playing zoo. So they took the lock, and they're locking each other up, and they hung it on my 3-year-old son. They hung it on his shirt. And he lost it. He's like, I don't know. And so I'm saying, Ani, where's the lock? I don't know, Mom.
You mean the key?
No, it's a combination lock.
Okay.
So I'm asking her where this lock is. And then finally, we kind of make a game out of it. Okay, what's the last thing you remember? Okay, so then what did you do? Anyway, she's like, Mom, we got to collect some clues. And so then she gets all into it. And she's collecting clues, which means she's basically running through her mind what's going on and trying to retrace her steps and all this. And then she said, I know where it is. Because when we walked this way, Cape went to the tree. And, of course, it was laying right there. And she was so proud of herself. And she said, I want to be a detective when I grow up.
What?
No, she doesn't. I will talk her away from that.
Well, she also wants to be an actress
Okay.
if the detective thing falls through.
She can be
and-
an actress playing a detective.
Right?
Yeah.
Even better.
But then if neither of those work, a scientist would
So
suffice.
why would you discourage someone from being a detective? Just such a downer.
I would discourage anybody going into the professional law enforcement these days.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean,
Yeah.
the current climate for law enforcement is just not.
You're not
The
the
it's not
enemy.
enemy.
just- yeah.
Yeah.
I still teach. I teach in the police academy in Jacksonville, and I mean, it's just we haven't had a full class in a long time. People just don't want to do the job, and I tell everyone, why do you want to give your life to a profession that before they put you in the ground, they will already have your job re-advertised?
Oh, wow. But
I'm
is that
thinking-
every job?
No. But I think probably it is really thankless work.
It is.
Yeah. And also, I don't know, we have a mutual friend who's ex-military, turned law enforcement, and he's not doing that anymore either, but it wore him out.
It does.
Like just dealing with the dregs
It does.
over and over. And
And that's got to affect how you see people.
exactly, it affects your humanity.
It does.
Right.
It really does.
Well, let's get off that kind of downer
Yeah,
topic and
Debbie
let's talk about
Downer.
your ultra running because I really didn't. I'm not familiar and,
And we just had Carlos on, who also
does that.
is an ultra runner.
Well, how
right now.
far are you, or what's your training? What how far do you run and where?
So I like ultra distance races, anything longer than the traditional marathon distance of 26.2 miles. I start 50K distance is actually probably my favorite. My body recovers the best from a 50K distance. I've done 40s, I've done 50s.
How many days does it take you to do the 50?
One.
Yeah,
One
50K
day.
is like 30 something miles.
Yeah, 50K
right?
is 31 miles. And
Oh,
then
okay.
50 milers under 12 hours.
Okay.
So
Wow.
You do trails? You
they're
prefer
trails. I've done, I did a road 50 miler. Well, when I say roads,
That's got to
gravel.
be tough on the.
It's
on the brain. Sounds like
It's-
pure hell.
Well, most of these races are lap races. You're not running like, I mean, you think about running 50 miles. You're not
Yeah,
running
yeah,
like
yeah.
a big 50-mile loop. The one that they have local that's put on by the guys from Without Limits Running, the Southern Tour, they have a 50K, and we ran it this year, and it was 6 5-mile loops.
Okay,
Oof.
got
All
it.
right,
Yeah,
so
I did the math. It took me a while.
The 50 miler is 10 loops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Carlos said when he was on talking about the run, he's a freediving friend of mine who's dabbling with the ultra. He said, "Oh, only trails, only
Yes.
trails."
Well, that's
Yes.
how Don, my husband, he has run marathons. He doesn't anymore, but the concrete's just too tough on his
It
body. So he goes to the bike trails or anything where he
Yes.
doesn't have to be on the concrete.
Yes.
I am trying to find inspiration to start these long distance runs.
One foot in front of the other.
One day at a time, Ash.
Okay.
Well, so
right.
here's what I'll tell you. Running in the woods, you're only focused on that 6 to 8 feet in front
Yeah.
of you.
Yes.
You're looking
yes.
down. So, I mean, it's not like you go in the woods and you're enjoying nature and you're like, oh,
Right,
look at these
right.
big trees. This
That
is
sounds
great.
kind of terrible.
But you're looking down. But you only
Consuming.
have to focus on that instead
Yeah.
of
Okay.
if you're running, let's
More
say,
meditative.
let's say, for instance, absolutely. So
Yeah.
if you're running, let's say you go to Wrightsville Beach and you're running down North Lumina and you have this long stretch of North Lumina,
Barf.
it just gets boring
Yes,
real quick,
so
right?
boring.
The only thing you're doing is watching for cars to make
Right.
sure a drunk don't hit you at like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, running in the woods, it's peaceful.
Well, because I would think anyway that because you have to be so focused, you get into that flow state and you just stay there. And you're
do.
not so consumed with, oh, when can I quit? It's been this long. I'm never going to make it because I already don't feel great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've done 5Ks, 10Ks, halves, fulls. I found my people in the woods.
Okay.
When I did my first ultra. Those are my
Sorry.
people. So those are the
I thought we were your people, the surfers.
Well, I have my surfing people, and then
Yeah,
I have my hippies of the running world.
Okay.
So, and that's what we are. I mean, we go in the woods. It's very laid back. I mean, you go to a race.
You just pee on the side of the
Either that
tree.
or just pee while you're running. I mean, whatever you have to do, just to keep moving.
You gnarly.
deer are like,
But see,
what's that guy doing?
we did Carlos. They know what you're doing. We did Carlos. We did Chris. And I think I'm getting a sign here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get
Ultra
going.
running. Let's
You
do
know
it.
what? They've already opened up registration for next year, for January 2022. You have time to train for a 50K.
Boom.
Well, you said one foot in front of the other. I need to come up with some kind of schedule.
Schedule.
Yeah.
So, you asked about training. My training is very unorthodox from what most people do. I don't follow training plans. I don't do any of that.
What do you do?
I run when I want. I run how I feel.
Sounds like my kind of training right there.
I focus on what I refer to as time on feet. So if you're on your feet for 4 hours, it doesn't matter whether you go 4 miles or 30 miles. The endurance, yes, on the 30 miles, but you're on your feet for 4 hours. That's weight on your feet for 4 hours. So whether you go and just walk or go run, and I dabble on a bike a little bit. I'm not going to say I'm a cyclist. I've got a bike. I got a very nice bike, and I got my mountain bike, and whatever. I ride when I can, I guess, when I don't feel like running. That day. And then
so
I lift
what
weights.
is that thing that your PI work is, or even cop work would be something that is, adrenaline, a 50K, or just striving to do these things that are kind of like, it's called ultra running.
Yes.
Surfing is not a easy sport. So what is behind all this drive?
Well, I'm scared of heights, and these are my adrenaline junkie. This is my adrenaline. This is my out.
It's better than skydiving.
It is my mental health away from reality.
Okay.
And that's I think you need that. You have to have that outlet.
Yes.
So those are my outlets.
That's a lot of outlets.
Well, there's a lot of outlets in a house.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, fair enough.
That's funny.
So this is my house, and this I have many outlets.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
the
It just
body
means
house.
we're underachieving.
Well, and I would say maybe it's time to move into the Devo, and I would say definitely Ashley and I, one of our outlets would be a spiritual walk with God that kind of helps us in other areas of our life. I don't know where you are, and if you want to share any of that, but
what did you bring today for the Devo?
well, as you can see, there's nothing beside the
Oh,
Devo
no.
line. No.
Oh, no.
Well, I wanted to talk about a book that I recently read called Prodigal God.
Okay.
It's written by Tim Keller, who writes a lot of pretty heavy stuff. Like I tried to read some other book and I didn't, but this one is a tiny book that's an easy read, and it's all about the prodigal son story, the one where the father has two sons. One of them runs off and hangs out with the prostitutes and spends all the money and ends up in a pigsty working for a pig farmer, and is so hungry that he's wanting the pig food. And he kind of talks to himself and it's like, man, even the servants at my dad's house live better. I'm going to go see if my dad would take me back, because he took his inheritance with him and spent it all. So he comes back, and the father's so happy to see him. And so everybody calls this the prodigal son story because of this one part. But that's only part A. Part B that Mr. Keller talks about is the older son, and how the story is just as much about that as it is the younger son. So the older son is like, oh, this little punk comes back.
And you're going to throw him a party.
Yeah, you're going to throw him a party.
I've been slaving on your farm,
Yeah.
doing your bidding, doing your junk.
You're a good older son.
Yeah.
And so there's a party, and the father comes out to the older son and says, come on in. We thought he was dead. He's alive. Come on. And the older son's like, no, I don't want to. And he's upset. So the story ends.
He's jealous.
It's a cliffhanger. The younger son has come back. he's gotten humbled out in the world and he's come back. But the older son all along had a heart maybe that was as separate as the younger son, away from the father. He's just doing it. He's following the rules. He's doing what's expected of him. But why? Is it because of his love for his dad? No, because if it was, he would have done what his father asked and came in. But he was doing it because this is what it gets him.
Or I never thought of him that harshly, though. I always thought the older son, it kind of exposes the human side of us that would feel that jealousy and would feel that contempt for the brother that's getting the attention, because even if he did love his father, which I'm sure he did, you know, and even if he did want to serve the family and all of those things, there's still that part of him that wants recognition for it.
What do you think?
Well, first off, I want to point out that she mentioned something to you. There's that another little hidden message. She said "run" in the story. It was talking about running. Just to let you know, she said that.
Segue.
Oh no, that's 3 times.
And also, so with the story, I think there's a sibling rivalry though. At the end of the day, and I have a brother, so I know about sibling rivalries.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. Very rough.
Is he the older one, or are you the older one?
I'm the older. I'm the older and the better
You're the
looking.
boss.
Yeah, I'm the older
And
and the
the
better
cop.
looking.
And the cop.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
more talented.
he was a fireman for a while too. So I mean,
wow.
you know, holidays were fun. You know. Yeah. So, but I think it is a rivalry as brothers and a jealousy. There's some jealousy that comes into play.
Yeah.
Because as a parent of 2 boys, and now I have a daughter.
Lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I see it. Well, my son, my oldest, you know, very extremely proud. He's 18. He's in the Coast Guard. We did actually last week. We traveled. We left here last Wednesday at 9 a.m. and Saturday afternoon, 4:30 their time, we arrived in San Francisco.
Whoa.
We drove across country.
Cool.
Wow.
And
Brave.
And then your
3
younger
kids?
son was jealous.
he's 14. He wants to go so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I had mentioned, you know, I'm going to say I opened my big mouth and I said, hey, when Gavin gets done with school, wherever his next duty station is, I would be willing to let you fly out and ride back with your brother.
Nice.
And my ex-wife's like, absolutely not.
Aw.
He got shot down.
Man.
But,
Yeah.
you know, the whole time, you know, he was excited. My 14-year-old's excited because he surfs. And he says, Dad, when you get back, we can go surfing. And I mean, I took a red eye back from California.
Ugh,
yeah, it was
hated it.
miserable.
Yeah.
I get back Sunday morning and I was looking at the surf and I was like, I don't want to go.
Did you go?
No.
I didn't either because I got back
Well, no,
late too.
I'm sorry.
And
Wait a
then
minute.
I
Hang
was
on. No, I apologize.
Oh, wait.
I did. I paddled out. I did paddle out Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon. It was done. You already missed everything.
Yeah.
Paddled out for an hour. I think I called it 2 waves and just.
At least you went out. I got back
Yeah.
late Saturday night and didn't go out. But okay, back
know-
to the story.
I was going to say, I've always been grateful to have a brother because I feel like it squelched some of that sibling rivalry. Because with, you know, having 2 different genders, we're allowed to be more different, I think, than different expectations, the whole thing.
Well, what were you going to say?
That's about it.
Oh, okay. So the moral of that story, or that Tim Keller brought up, was when Jesus was talking, of course, the Pharisees were the older brother.
Right.
And the younger brother would be those people that were coming to Jesus that were getting healed or had issues with demons or whatever. So they were all coming in, and the Pharisees were all sitting back on their heels like, how you're eating with the tax collector? So what he came to was the older brother. It is a cliffhanger. Does he come in or does he not? Jesus leaves it open. The door's open.
Right, because the question has been posed.
Right, the question's
to
been
Jesus'
posed.
audience.
Right, and then the other thing is, who's the true elder brother? Jesus. He's the one that was willing to pay, because it is a sacrifice. The older brother had to make a sacrifice for the younger brother to come back, because he was going to have to, he already took his share of the inheritance. It was split 2 ways. All that's left is the big brother. And the big brother's like, you're welcoming him back. Now we got to split this sucker again. He's riding on my tab. And so he's left out, or he's not left out, but he's posed the question, will he come in? And then the true elder brother is Jesus, who says, I'll make the sacrifice for y'all to come in. Isn't that cool?
It is cool.
It is.
And I often think about people that have always had a spiritual element in their life. You know, the people that have been just good believers since the beginning, always in church, always doing their thing. And then you've got
the little black sheep.
Right. The people that come later, that are saved later, that and maybe have had some miraculous stories, like a serious testimony or these things happening, and how those people must feel like, man, where's my big story? Like, why is this person getting the story? Why am I getting the story? I put in my time.
But it's an individual journey. It's just like anything else. Surfing is an individual journey. You and your friends can all go surf together, but that's your journey.
And it's intimate that way, that it is yours with God's. Yours is going to be different than mine. Yours is going to be different. And same with surfing or diving or these other sports. Kind of like you and DJ were having that little, competition. But you each have your strengths, and I think Jesus meets you wherever you are. And he knows exactly what you need when you need it and is there to do it. But let's move into homework. I'm wondering, Chris has got to bring homework. What, as Joe Schmo, regular, not PI, what can we do as, not PIs?
Nosy people.
Yeah, just nosy people. How do you know something's up? Maybe is there something we need to be more aware in our daily life? What is it?
That is you just came up with that on the fly, didn't you?
You can tell.
That is on the fly.
So it's just gonna kind of kind of not only on the PI side, but it's just it's awareness.
Okay.
All right.
Situational awareness.
Absolutely.
What's that mean?
Well, a couple things.
Okay.
All right. First is know your surroundings.
How many people were like this?
Oh yeah.
Well, it's not so much that people do that people do it all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
we live in a world of cell phones. We really do. I mean, you watch people; they're glued to their phones when they're walking,
And they're not even looking
head
at
down. They're not paying attention. Be more aware. Put your phone away when you're walking around. When I say situational awareness for a parking lot, when you walk outside, just basic. Just look around. Take a look around. See what's out there. If you see a guy sitting in a parking lot way off out in the distance with all his window down, and there's a man sitting in that vehicle or a woman sitting in that vehicle, pay attention to that.
Wow, who would have thought to do that? If they're sitting in a car, I wouldn't have
that
thought
happened to
about
me yesterday. Yeah, it happened to me yesterday.
it. Okay, keep going.
With going back to the cell phone because it's so popular, keep an eye on your phone. Lock your phone. Okay. Watch. It's very difficult to get into a cell phone. People
I don't have mine locked.
We have people all the time that call us and are like, I think somebody's listening to my phone calls.
Oh.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, there's spyware that can be put in your phone.
Okay.
And typically it's like jealous spouses or whatever.
Okay.
Right.
And they're watching. So I try not to have my phone out, and I have my passcode on my phone. I try not to
Do
let
that
people
while
see
people are
that.
looking.
Which I mean, now with iPhones with the face recognition and all that stuff, so then you don't typically have to punch that number in. But if people see that, that's something that they could watch. And there's there's
I see people do it in front of me all the time.
right.
I should be more suspicious.
Little things like that. I mean, I don't know if you ladies carry large purses. When you carry your purse, you should carry it more like in the front of you versus on the side, because if it's on the side and it's open, it's very easy for somebody to, they can remove something out of there.
This is echoing Talita's. We have a Krav Maga friend, Talita, and she came and did like a self-defense thing for women. Anyway, she was talking about these kinds of things, the basic elements of self-awareness, but she did this really powerful demonstration. Remember where she said, if you have mace, who cares if it's in your bag?
Right.
If you're not carrying it.
That's right.
So I was like pretending to look for my mace because that's what you got to do. And she came at me like fast. And
Scared the heck out of all of us.
It scared me, right.
If you want to see something really, so piggyback off of that, if you want to see something very interesting, look up, there's a man named Tony Blauer.
Ooh, yeah.
Tony Blauer.
And he teaches something called the spear technique.
The spear technique.
That's Tony Blower.
Blauer.
Okay.
and he teaches something called spear. And for a long time, we taught this in law enforcement. I'm a subject control instructor for law enforcement. And we taught this for many years. And then finally, after 30 years of Tony of giving this program to law enforcement for North Carolina, he says, hey, guys, gave it to you for 30 years. Y'all need to pay me a little bit. And North Carolina's like, no, we'll just remove it from the program.
Oh, wow.
So all of us were very frustrated because they did whatever, not our call. But I often tell students about this. Go back and read about this stuff, because some of the stuff he teaches can be taught to somebody that knows absolutely nothing about self-defense.
But this will help you.
But it's nothing more than just bringing your arms up, and it talks about how strong the arm is from the elbow to the shoulder. About how if somebody comes and tries to attack you, and you bring your arms up like this into a spear, and they can't gain any closer to you.
Until he just says, right here.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're right here, and then from here also, I mean, your hands can go back. I would rather my hands hit me in the face like this
than his hands.
Right.
So
yeah, it's just kind of.
So look that up, the spear technique.
I wrote it down.
And then we would love to keep going, but we have to be cognizant of our producer over here.
Sorry, Billy.
No, just that we're paying him per minute. No.
Oh, right. We're too cheap to continue this conversation.
No, well, we're going to have resources on there, but for the homework, be more situationally aware.
Yes.
And check out Tony Blauer Spear Technique.
Yeah.
And I will put resources on the show notes for that.
Thank you guys very much for listening. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Of Clean Eats, Ultra Runner, and what's the name of it? A Peace of Mind.
Peace of Mind.
PI.
It's Cape Fear Investigative Services.
Oh, Cape Fear Investigative Services. If you are in need of a secret agent.
Secret Agent Man. Secret Agent Man. We're going to plug his brother, too.
Yeah.
In the surfboard.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.